She laughed when she thought I was asleep. That's what stuck with me the most. Not what she said, not the name she whispered, not even the soft clinking of her wine glass while she texted under the kitchen table. No, what broke me was the laugh. It wasn't the kind she used with me. It was younger, meaner, almost flirtatious. I lay still on the couch, one arm dangling toward the floor, pretending my back had gone out again. Truth is, I'd slept there for 3 nights. I told her it was the mattress. She didn't argue. She just stopped asking. At 1:11 a.m., her phone lit up again. She jumped. She actually jumped. Then she tiptoed toward the hallway, barefoot, holding her breath like I couldn't hear a single creak. She didn't know I was watching. She didn't know I had already seen the message 2 nights ago when she left it open in the Uber. He doesn't suspect a thing, it read, with a smiley face, the yellow kind she never used with me anymore. But I said nothing. Not then. Not when she kissed me on the forehead the next morning. Not even when she said she was going to her cousin's birthday. And forgot she told me that same lie last weekend. I waited. Waited for the moment it would all make sense. For the moment she'd say something honest. For the moment I'd finally stop being so pitifully, pathetically hopeful. Instead, I got this. Her laughing, wine-drunk, whispering into a phone at 1:17 a.m. Barefoot in the hallway, thinking I couldn't hear. So I did the only thing I could do at that point. I waited for her to fall asleep. Then I got up, walked quietly to the bedroom door, and looked in. She was curled around her phone, face turned away from me, breathing slow and careless. I packed, just enough to not need her anymore. Left the key where I knew she wouldn't look until Monday. By the time she realized I was gone, I'd already crossed 2 state lines. And you know what? She didn't call. Not right away. She waited. Because that's what you do when you realize the doormat finally moved. I didn't mean to check the messages. I really didn't. I had left to escape all of that, to avoid the trap of reopening old wounds, reading her words over and over, wondering what they meant. But somewhere between mile marker 182 and a gas station that smelled like burnt plastic and old fries, I turned my phone back on. No calls. No missed texts. No, where are you? No, come back. Nothing. Just a string of notifications from a group chat I forgot I was still in, her friend circle. The one I had been added to back when she used to parade me around like a trophy boyfriend who could install curtain rods without instructions. I opened it out of habit, and there it was. A screenshot. At first, it didn't seem important. Just a blurry screen grab, probably sent by accident. But then I saw the sender's name, Sabrina. Dina's best friend since college, her loyal little echo chamber. The one who always smirked at me like she knew something I didn't. The image showed a message thread. Not mine. Some other guy's name at the top, Lucas B. And in the thread, there was a message from Dina. My wife. My actual wife. Sent 3 nights ago, while I was asleep on the couch. He still doesn't get it. I could be in someone else's hoodie, and he'd still ask if I want breakfast. There was a reply from the guy. Let him cook, then smirking face. And then, right below it, she sent a photo. Not of herself. Of me. Sleeping. From behind the couch. The same exact position I'd been in that night. One arm off the side, blanket twisted around my legs, completely unaware that my wife, was taking pictures of me like I was some punchline in a joke told behind my back. I blinked at the screen, heart pounding harder than when I walked out of the house. My fingers went numb. I hadn't cried in a long time, not even when my dad passed. Not even when I got laid off last year. But this was worse than betrayal. This was mockery. This was cruelty wrapped in emojis and inside jokes. I scrolled up in the chat, just for a second, just to see what else had been said. He offered to drive me to your place face with tears of joy loudly crying face. He literally sat in traffic for 40 minutes so I could sleep with you. How do I get rid of him without being the bad guy? Easy, Sabrina replied. He already made himself the bad guy. Just start crying. Say you feel neglected. He'll apologize for existing. There were thumbs-up reactions. Laughter. Heart emojis. I sat there in my car, parked at the edge of a truck stop, watching the sunset drip across the windshield like it was supposed to mean something. I had spent the last few weeks wondering what I did wrong. Wondering how I could fix things. Wondering if maybe, just maybe, I was overthinking. But now I knew. I wasn't a husband anymore. I was a prop in her performance. An unpaid extra in the soap opera she created behind my back. I didn't drive for a long while after that. I just sat, letting the gas station neon buzz in the distance, rereading her words. Let him cook. Neglected. Apologize for existing. That's when it hit me. I'd been begging for crumbs from a woman who was serving full-course meals to someone else. And now, I was done begging. I was halfway through a diner breakfast I didn't even want when my phone started buzzing on the table. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. I figured it was her, finally realizing I was gone, finally deciding to care when it was too late. But when I picked up, it wasn't Dina's voice. It was her mother's, and she sounded furious. Not the disappointed kind of angry, but the kind that comes from confusion and fear all at once. Calvin, what's going on with you two? Why did you leave? I almost laughed. It was absurd hearing concern from someone who once told me, she's always been dramatic, just be patient. I asked if Dina had said anything. Her mom hesitated, then sighed. The kind of sigh that comes from holding too many secrets for too long. She called me crying last night, she said. Told me you vanished. Said you took money from the account and blocked her. What's happening? Money? I didn't take a cent. My debit card was sitting in the glove compartment, still linked to our joint account. My first instinct was anger, classic Dina, flipping the story before I could even explain mine. But there was something else in her mother's voice. Worry. Genuine, shaking worry. I told her everything. The screenshots. The photo. The mocking. Every single detail that had been eating me alive since I left. There was a long pause, and then she whispered, almost like she was afraid someone might hear through the phone. I believe you. I wasn't expecting that. Dina's mom was always on her side, no matter what. But she went on. I saw messages once. Years ago. She said cruel things about you, Calvin. I told myself she was just venting, but I think it's worse now. I leaned back in the diner booth, the plastic seat squeaking under me. I didn't even realize I was holding my breath until she said, you did the right thing leaving. That hit harder than I expected. For months, I'd felt trapped, like every decision I made was the wrong one. If I stayed, I was weak. If I left, I was heartless. But hearing those words from her mom, the one person who always saw me as disposable, suddenly gave everything a strange kind of weight. Then she said something that made my hands go cold. She's been talking to someone named Lucas. Your name came up in the same conversation. She told him you'd never find out. That name again. Lucas. The one from the group chat. The one who joked about me being too blind to see what was right in front of me. I asked how she knew, and her mom confessed she'd overheard part of a call when she visited last month. She said Dina laughed about having a backup plan. That's what she called him. Backup plan. I didn't even respond at first. My mind went completely blank. Then I thanked her, ended the call, and sat there staring at my reflection in the window. The diner TV was playing some old western, a hero riding into the sunset like he had all the answers. But me? I had none. Just a phone full of screenshots, a suitcase full of half-folded clothes, and a truth I never asked for. Still, something her mom said stuck with me. You did the right thing leaving. Maybe I did. But now that I knew she was spreading lies about me, now that she was twisting the story into something else, I realized leaving wasn't enough. She wanted to play the victim? Fine. I could play quiet. But silence has a way of turning into thunder when the truth finally breaks. And I was just getting started. I don't know why I opened the message. Maybe I still hadn't learned. Maybe I still wanted to believe someone, anyone, was on my side. Or maybe I just wanted proof that I hadn't imagined all of it. That I wasn't crazy or overreacting or bitter. But the moment I saw the preview image, a shaky frame, dimly lit, Dina's voice mid-laugh, I knew I shouldn't tap play. The sender was Roxy. She wasn't close to Dina anymore, not since some fight they had about a canceled bachelorette party a year back. I barely remembered her, but she remembered me. Her message just said, I don't know if you've seen this, but you deserve to. I watched it in the car, parked outside some no-name motel with peeling paint and a flickering ice machine. It was a screen recording. The video had originally been a story, something Dina had posted privately to a close friends list that didn't include me, which meant she had to manually exclude me. That part hurt more than it should have. It started at a bar, somewhere downtown, definitely not her book club. Dina was there, dressed like she hadn't planned to come home that night. Around her were 3 other people, 2 women and Lucas. Yeah, him. He wasn't even hiding. His arm was around the back of her chair, his face close to hers in that smug, performative way that says, I already know I've won. At one point in the video, she looked straight into the phone camera and said, "Cheers to my second life," then clinked glasses with the other woman. Lucas leaned in and kissed her on the cheek, and she didn't flinch. She laughed. My throat went dry. But it wasn't the kiss that wrecked me. It was what she said next. "Calvin still thinks we're working things out. Poor guy made me breakfast this morning. I had lipstick on my collar." She smirked, looked proud of it, then added, "But hey, he's got his hobbies, fixing stuff, doing chores, pretending he's still husband material." Someone off camera laughed too hard. The video cut off there. I didn't move for a long time. I just stared at the black screen, the buffer bar at the bottom, my own reflection in the cracked screen protector. I had to remind myself to breathe. I replayed the scene in my head, her sitting across from me, sipping coffee I made, wearing my hoodie, acting like we still had something to salvage. I thought of all the times I'd stayed quiet to keep the peace, all the times I'd convinced myself to hold on just a little longer. I wasn't just a backup plan. I was a running joke. And then came the worst realization of all. She hadn't even bothered to delete it. That story had stayed up for 24 hours. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't a moment of weakness. It was a performance. One she assumed I'd never see. But I had. And now, I was done being humiliated in silence. I didn't message her. I didn't respond to the video. I didn't even call Roxy back. Instead, I opened my laptop, logged into the email account Dina hadn't used in years but never disconnected from my shared inbox, and started searching. For documents. For messages. For anything that could show the world the real story, before she had the chance to rewrite it again. Because I wasn't just leaving anymore. I was taking the truth with me. The call came in while I was sitting at a laundromat 2 towns over, watching a row of dryers spin like they were mocking me. I'd thrown every piece of clothing I had into the biggest machine they offered, even the clean stuff. I just needed to feel like something in my life was getting reset. I was halfway through a vending machine granola bar when my phone buzzed across the metal table. Dina, wife. That's how her name was still saved. Like some cruel joke from a past version of me that still thought she was my person. I stared at the screen, thumb hovering. Part of me wanted to let it ring out, just to feel like I had some power left. But curiosity won. Or maybe spite. I answered. She didn't even wait for me to say hello. "Where the hell are you?" she shrieked, her voice shaky and furious. "You just disappeared? Took off like some coward? People are asking questions, Calvin." I almost laughed. Coward? She thought I was a coward? After everything she'd done behind my back, after everything she'd said about me in group chats, after posting private parts of our life online like I was a sitcom character built for ridicule, I was the coward? Still, I didn't yell. I didn't match her energy. I just leaned back and said, "I left the keys by the coffee maker. You saw them, right?" She went silent for a beat. Not long, but long enough for me to know that she had seen them. That she knew. But what came next wasn't sadness. It was venom. "You're blowing everything up. Do you even realize what you're doing to me? My friends are talking. My mom called crying. Lucas is furious." "Good," I interrupted calmly. "Let him be furious. He's got more of you than I ever did." That stunned her. I heard it in the way her breath caught. For once, she didn't have a snappy retort. So I kept going. "I saw the video, Dina. The one you posted for your little close friends audience. The one where you toasted to your second life, while I was in the next room cleaning the air filters like an idiot." She tried to deny it at first, of course. "What video? You're being paranoid again. You always twist things." "Don't." I cut her off. "Don't gaslight me. Not this time. I saw it. I heard what you said. About breakfast. About me being some pathetic housemaid playing pretend." Silence again. But this time, I didn't fill it. "I've got copies of it all," I said finally. "The messages, the screenshots, everything your friends shared behind your back. You didn't even have the decency to delete it." She snapped. "Why are you collecting things like a stalker? You're acting crazy." I'm acting like someone who finally woke up. Then came the tears. The voice cracking, breath-hitching sobs I used to fall for. Used to scramble to comfort. "Calvin, you don't understand. It wasn't serious with him. I just needed space. We were in a weird place. I didn't mean any of it the way it looked. You said you wanted a second life. Congratulations. You've got it." I hung up. For the first time in years, I didn't feel guilt afterward. I felt still. Not peaceful, not happy, just still. Like the noise was finally stopping. She called again 2 minutes later. Then 4 more times. I didn't answer. I just watched the dryers spin and thought about all the ways I'd made myself small to fit inside a relationship that had no space for me. I thought about how she never once asked if I was okay, just how she looked, how she sounded, what her friends thought. And most of all, I thought about what I was going to do next. Because Dina wanted to play pretend, but I was about to go very real. The worst part wasn't that she cheated. It wasn't even that she mocked me while doing it. It was that she made me feel like I deserved it. Like my only role in her life was to be some quiet, invisible presence who folded her laundry, fixed her shelves, and smiled through being forgotten. I was background noise in her little show, and I was done being silent. The final straw came when I opened our shared calendar. Dina had forgotten to revoke my access. It was all still there, her reminders, her gym classes, even her fake work trips. But what caught my eye was the little gold star on the upcoming Saturday. Annual fundraiser, Lakeshore Club. The event. Her event. The one she'd been preparing for like it was the Met Gala. Black tie. Catered by a place I could never afford. Packed with people who smiled with their teeth and judged with their eyes. And she was going to be hosting it. With Lucas. I recognized the email domain for the RSVP list. She'd used a shared contact form once, and I remembered the login. Maybe she thought I'd forgotten about that part. Maybe she assumed I wouldn't care. But by now, she should have known I had receipts. And I was ready to use them. There were 67 names on the guest list. Doctors, entrepreneurs, her old college roommate, even our former couple's therapist. Awkward, right? One by one, I copied every email address into a BCC list. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to accuse. I was going to do what she never expected. I was going to tell the truth. The email subject line was simple. Before you attend the fundraiser this weekend. I wrote the message carefully. No swearing. No dramatics. Just the facts. Hi, I'm Calvin, Dina's husband. You're receiving this because you're on the RSVP list for Saturday's event. Before you attend, I thought you might like to know a few things Dina has left out. While planning this event, she was also planning a second life with someone else. She referred to me publicly as a housemaid with a crush. She hosted private parties behind my back while I took care of our home alone. Multiple mutual friends have provided screenshots and recordings confirming all of this. I won't be attending the fundraiser, obviously, but I thought you deserved to know what kind of person is hosting it. Best, Calvin. No attachments. No graphic evidence. Just words. Clean. Sharp. True. And then I hit send. Almost immediately, my phone buzzed. 1 message. Then 2. Then 10. One woman replied, I always suspected. Thank you for saying something. Another wrote, I'm not going. I don't support liars. A few responses were just stunned silence. No words, just, or awkward wow. But what mattered most was the shift. The silence that had protected her started to crack. People knew. And not because I shouted, not because I dragged her through the mud, but because I refused to pretend anymore. About an hour later, the real call came. It wasn't Dina. It was Lucas. Blocked number. Deep breath. Then him. You think that was smart, he growled. You're messing with her career now. You have no idea who you're dealing with. I smiled, leaning against my motel wall. That's where you're wrong, I said calmly. I know exactly who I was dealing with. Took me a while, but I finally figured it out. He barked some threat about lawyers and defamation, as if I'd said anything untrue. I reminded him that truth isn't defamation. And besides, I wasn't the one broadcasting my affair across a private Instagram story. They did that to themselves. He hung up with a string of words I can't repeat here, but trust me, it was the kind of exit that says, I didn't expect this to backfire. And Dina? She didn't call. Not that night. Not the next morning. Not until it all went public. The photos started trickling in before the event had even kicked off. First, it was a blurry shot from the valet line. Dina standing stiff in a silver dress I'd once complimented as timeless, her shoulders drawn up like she was trying to physically block the judgment around her. Next came a wide shot of the ballroom, posted by a guest I didn't even know, captioned, Awkward vibes tonight. Not the energy I expected. I didn't ask for the updates. People just started sending them. One by one. Screenshots. Videos. A slow unraveling, like watching a carefully folded napkin come apart, thread by thread. I guess that's what happens when you build a life on appearances. When the truth leaks out, the crowd doesn't gasp. They lean in. They watch. What hit hardest wasn't how empty the venue looked, though it was. The RSVP list had thinned out like ice on a pond in late spring. It wasn't the cold stares in the background or the whispered conversations Dina pretended not to notice. It was her eyes. Every picture told the same story. She wasn't in control anymore. By 7:15 p.m., a mutual friend texted me something simple. She's cracking. Apparently someone approached her, someone high on the donor list, and asked point blank, "Is it true?" No specifics, just the tone. The one that means, "I heard something ugly. Prove me wrong." She tried to laugh it off. Said I was unstable. Said I was acting out. But she couldn't lie her way through the optics. Not when so many people had seen the receipts. Not when Roxy sent me a screenshot from a new group chat labeled Dina's Disasters, where her own friends were dissecting everything with the same surgical precision Dina used on me. And then came the video. It was only 26 seconds long. Filmed sideways. Poor audio, but clear enough. She was by the bar, talking to Lucas, red-faced, frantic, whisper yelling. He was trying to calm her down, but she wasn't having it. She jabbed her finger in his chest and said, "You said he wouldn't do anything. You said he was weak." I watched that part on repeat. The look in her eyes when she said it. The panic. The frustration. The sharp sting of losing the narrative. No more gaslighting. No more twisting my words behind closed doors. No more walking back into the house pretending like she didn't just ruin me in some private DM thread. That woman, the one in the video, shrieking in designer heels while people awkwardly looked away, wasn't powerful. She wasn't confident. She wasn't admired. She was alone. Lucas left early. One of the servers told me he got into it with security near the lot. Rumors flew fast, everything from a fight in the parking lot to someone threatening legal action. But I didn't care about the gossip. I only cared that she finally got to taste what it was like being me. Unheard, unseen, disrespected. The best part? I wasn't even there. I didn't need to be. Dina used to tell me I was too passive, that I never stood up for myself. She just never expected what standing up would actually look like. And I wasn't done yet. I didn't answer her call the next morning, or the one after that, or the one she tried to sneak in from her friend's number, like I wouldn't recognize it. She left 4 voicemails in under 30 minutes, each one messier than the last. The first was icy, accusing. "I hope you're proud of yourself. Do you even realize what you've done? People are talking. They're canceling. You humiliated me." The second was more desperate. "Calvin, can we just talk? Please. I wasn't ready for it all to go public like this. I didn't mean to hurt you. I swear." The third started with sniffles. "I made a mistake. I know that now. Lucas was nothing. I was stupid. But you were always steady. I just didn't see it until it was too late." The fourth? She didn't say anything at all. Just silence. A shaky breath. And then a soft whisper. "I miss you." But it wasn't sadness that settled over me as I listened. It was peace. See, I always thought closure would come in some grand confrontation. Me yelling. Her crying. Truth exploding in all directions. But that's not how healing works. Real closure, I've learned, is quiet. It's finally understanding that you don't have to keep proving your worth to someone who chose to look away. I didn't call her back. I didn't forward the emails. I didn't rub it in. Instead, I deleted every app tied to her world. The shared calendar. The photo albums. The contact list. I packed my bag again, not with panic or shame this time, but with intent. 3 days later, I moved into a small rental cabin on the edge of a lake 2 states away. Nothing fancy, just trees, birds, and silence. A place where no one knew me as Dina's husband or the guy she cheated on. A place where I could start over without feeling like a punchline in someone else's private group chat. I planted tomatoes, learned to cook more than eggs, even started sketching again, something I hadn't done since college. It was messy at first, like everything in my life. But slowly, lines became shapes. Shapes became ideas. And somewhere in all of that, I became something too. Me. One morning, I got a letter in the mail. Handwritten. No return address, but I knew the handwriting. "I still don't understand how you could leave without a word," it began. "You just disappeared. You didn't even give me a chance to fix it." She was wrong. I'd given her hundreds of chances. But the last line of her letter told me everything I needed to know. "If you ever feel like coming back, I'll be here." I smiled, folded the letter gently, and slid it into the fireplace. Not out of hate, but because I was finally warm without her.